So I Like Movie was screened at TIFF 2022, and Mile and Kicks was actually a Next Wave Selects from this festival. So we just wanted to ask, what's your overall experience with the Toronto filmmaking scene, and like what do you love about creating here?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's an honor to be a TIFF Next Wave pick because I feel like you guys always pick the best movies. And so and I just love everything that the festival embodies. And I think if I had had that in high school, I would have absolutely died, and in a good way. So, yeah, I think for me, I mean, I started off as a film critic and just kind of making like DIY music videos for punk bands like Pup in Toronto. And so I didn't really think that I would ever like make feature films, and it was really being inspired by my peers, like who are incredible filmmakers in Toronto, like people like Matt Johnson and Kazik Redwanski and Grace Glowicki and Ben Petrie and everything that they do together, and Sophie Ramvari and Tyrone Tommy, that like kind of showed me like a path, towards doing it. And I think it's like grants, like micro budget grants, like Telefilm's Talent to Watch and Canada Arts Council, like that's what we made I Like Movies with and stuff. And I think when you look at other filmmaking communities, like they don't have those kind of resources. So it's really cool that we can not only make DIY movies but also have like support to do so.
In your work, coming of age is a big theme. How do you bring your personal experiences into your scripts and use that to authentically portray youth?
Yeah, I mean, I think that both I Like Movies and Mile and Kicks are kind of like weird Joker origin stories of my life. And, one's kind of like a portrait of me in my last year of high school. This one's sort of me in my early 20s, like stumbling and failing around in like American Apparel disco shorts, trying to figure things out. And yeah, I mean, I think I make movies to sort of figure things out and just sort of understand different aspects of my life. It was funny when we were making Mile and Kicks, it was when Taylor Swift's Eras tour was happening. And I was just thinking about like how her approach to that concert tour was, and how, she's documenting all these different eras of her life, and people are celebrating them, and kind of like, it was this sort of messy appreciation of like girlhood in some ways. And I don't know, I kind of like the idea of doing that and, memorializing like different really messy, difficult periods in my life when I was really struggling. And I, continue to fail upwards in all aspects of my life. But, it's exciting to, go back and really think about yourself as a young person, and really have compassion and like tenderness for like those like really prickly sensitive parts of moments that really impacted you.
Yeah, I will say that compassion really like comes through in your work, and
thanks.
we really appreciated it watching it as well.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, like also building off of that, I think making films about yourself is things like a lot of young people like to do. So I was wondering how you were able to kind of accurately bring like your own life onto the screen, or even into writing, and even where you drew inspiration from, like you said, the Eras tour. Like what other parts or maybe media did you see in your youth that kind of encapsulated into what you make nowadays?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, I think it's everything from like graphic novels, like Ghost World, like both the graphic novel by Dan Clowes and the film were huge for me when I was a teenager. I think this movie is kind of my attempt to make Almost Famous, which is like a movie I loved when I was 15. And, a lot of like going back and thinking about like records and bands that I really fell in love with when I was a teenager and a young person, like that kind of shaped me. Like, I think really seeing Almost Famous when I was 15, like not only did it make me want to become a music journalist, which I did, I dropped out of university to do that. I think it also made me want to be a filmmaker. And so, yeah, I think always like the music and movies and pop culture that you fall in love with when you're 15, like you kind of never let that go. Like I'm dating myself. I'm an elder millennial, but when I listened to The Strokes, Is This It, for the first time, like I was like, oh, I'm going to love this record forever. And to me, it's still, it's different.
And from your first project to now, in terms of your filmmaking process, how has that evolved over time? And what are some tips that you've picked up along the way that kind of enhanced your process?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the last 3 years or something since I like movies was premiered at TIFF, like, yeah, my life has really changed a lot, and I went from making like a $225,000 film, which we made exclusively with arts grants in the middle of the pandemic, to being on set of a $30 million Netflix movie that was like produced by Adam Sandler, and I was surprised at how much of the process is still the same. Like whether you're making like a micro budget or you're on set with like a 75-person crew, you're still trying to capture something that's authentic and real and dial in those moments and figure out, the story that you have to tell. And there's never enough time and there's never enough money, and you're fighting against the clock, and you're also trying to, really, really collaborate with people. And it's, it's always this sort of process of going like, what is this scene about for me? Do I like what's happening on camera? How do I make this like more real? What kind of, it's this like energetic exchange that everybody's having in the moment. And I think that's the scenes where I felt like chill and relaxed and everyone was having a great time. Like those are always the best scenes in the movie. And then sometimes you're just like, okay, I had 15 shots on my shot list. Now I have to make them 2. And it's like the ability to like pivot in those like high pressure situations. I think filmmaking is like a practice for a reason. It's like the more movies you make, the easier it gets to kind of make those like game day decisions. And yeah, but yeah, it's like, I'm like, I can't believe this is my life.
Speaking of, being on set and going back to Toronto's scene, what are like some hidden gems that you think filmmakers should know about this area? Like even locations to shoot at, communities, or like programs that you found were really good resources?
Yeah. I mean, I think Lyft is like a really invaluable resource for independent filmmakers. You can rent gear from there, and you pay like a membership, and I don't think it's that much money, and it gives you access to like really cheap camera gear, including great like Alexa cameras, but also like 16 millimeter Bolexes. And they have a bunch of classes that you can take if you want to learn everything from like editing to independent producing to screenwriting to like developing your own like 16 millimeter film. And they've been around forever, and they're totally independent. I think what Kaz does with his MDFF series here at the Lightbox is really awesome. And, he's really curating these incredible like independent films, and then also kind of cultivating a community where people can hang out afterwards and meet each other, which I think is ultimately like the best thing you can do as like an emerging filmmaker is like go to shorts programs, see which movies you love in the program, find out who produced them, like try and meet your people and people who sound and look like yourself, and you understand them, like whether that's, producers or cinematographers or editors. Like I think so much of my journey in filmmaking is like trying to find my tribe and like people who I feel like want to make the same movie that I do. And I'm really lucky so far that I found a couple of those collaborators who are really dear to me.
What advice would you give to a young creator trying to make a film in Canada?
I think just like get it out there in whatever medium you can. I think we're starting to see in the film industry like people who didn't have a conventional path forward. They didn't go to film school. They didn't, make an acclaimed short that was at TIFF. They made like front-facing TikTok videos or, a web series that they aired on Instagram. I think like everyone from like Veronica Slavkowska, who was like just making like comedy videos on YouTube and is now on the cast of SNL, or Matt Johnson, who, Nirvana the band, the show was like a web series on YouTube, and like 20 years later it's like this acclaimed film that's being distributed by Neon. And I think it's just like I wish I'd given myself like permission to make more bad films earlier. Like I wish I'd really given myself to make bad art and just like try things and fail and learn from my mistakes, because I think I was so precious, and I always thought like, oh, my first film has to be like a masterpiece, and I was so scared to make like anything for so long, or even call myself a filmmaker or admit that that's what I wanted to do, that I wasted a lot of time. And I think you only learn what your voice is by kind of like trying and failing and then finding that one little scene or like performance moment or like undercurrent where you're like, oh, that's me.
That's really like refreshing to hear, because sometimes like filmmaking, it's easy to take like too seriously, and it's really nice to like just chill and get to make something you like.
Yeah, like I look at Ava Victor, who made Story Baby last year.
Yes.
And she started, like, Barry Jenkins watched her, like, insanely amazing, like, weird Twitter videos where it's, like, all her as the actor. And, you know, they were, like, 2 minutes long and super zany. And he was like, oh, you're a filmmaker. Like, you don't know it yet. But, like, there's something in these videos that you just made that, like, and she had never directed, like, a short or anything before. And they just, like, let her observe Jane Showbrum's making their second feature, and also let her like film a scene from Story Baby, and like just trusted that she could do it based on kind of like the raw talent of just like wild DIY comedy videos.
Okay, just to end, a really, really fun, fast question. What's one movie you always will love? What's one movie you'll always recommend, and one you want to watch again for the first time?
Ooh, that's oh wow. Okay, my top 4 is coming
Top 4?
to me. One movie I've always will love is Billy Wilder's The Apartment. I just think that's just the most incredible, super acidic, heartbreaking rom-com, and it's super original. And when I watch that movie every New Year's, and it just has a deep place in my heart. One movie that I recommend.
Yeah, recommend to others.
Is Grace Glowicky's Dead Lover, which just came out. That was shot by Grace. She's in it with her husband. She produced it. You know, she wrote it. She edited it, like, with Lev Lewis. Like, she's just, I really admire her and Ben Petrie's ability to kind of make movies with each other as muses and collaborators, and everything that they both make together in a partnership is just like a total banger for me. So that film is like this crazy, very esoteric, zany film that she shot on 16 millimeter with like 4 people in the cast, and she plays this like 19th century grave digger that wants to have sex, but she smells too bad, like dead corpses, and meets this lover, and it's just like unbelievably wild and crazy. And I watched it in LA, and they had these like scratch and sniff cards for like every beat and so I just love people that like are really going for their vision, and that was really inspiring to me. And then one film
that you want to watch for the first time again.
Toni Erdmann by Marinata. It's this incredible German film that played at Cannes, and it stars Sandra Hüller, and it's just the most amazing movie I've ever seen about father-daughter relationships. It's so funny. It's so crazy. I watched it for the first time at a press and industry screening at TIFF when I was a film critic. And I was like laughing so hysterically that people were like, you need to leave the screening. Like, you're disrupting others. Like, to me, it is just like the most transformational experience I've ever had watching a movie. And I feel like every film that I make, I'm like trying to remake another movie. Like, I feel like I like movies with me trying to make Lady Bird. This movie, Mile and Kicks, is me trying to make Almost Famous. And then hopefully my next movie will be me trying to make Toni Erdmann, because I just think that movie rocks really hard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay.